doing my research for today, I came across a sermon that had been given here about 4 years ago, and it's by Sarah K. Pearson, and it was delivered in 2016 at the Middleborough by Sarah K. Pearson. Anyway, I thought it was kind of appropriate for what is happening now and some things to think about. Can you hear me okay? I'm trying to get this adjusted. Okay, all right. Now maybe it's too hot. Okay. There's an old joke that Universalists believe that God was too good to damn people, while the Unitarians believed that they were too good to be damned. We can find some inkling of our understanding of morality in there, but the real contribution to our moral code came to us from the humanists. They provided a secular influence on our dealing with the Word. I don't know about you, but I was very young and I started school when I was 4 years old. And you imagine I should have been in nursery school, but I wasn't. Anyway, I was a klutz. And believe me, if I was left in a room and something precious was around, it was going to probably a good chance it was going to be broken or some demise of it. The main thing, in spite of all my good intentions, it was not my intention to break things. But that's not the point of Phil Zuckerman's book, Living Secular Life, New Answers to Old Questions. His point is that people who do not believe in God nor participate in organized religion can still be good and trustworthy people. As a matter of fact, their trustworthiness can come from a more involved code of behavior, a code he calls empathetic reciprocity, otherwise known as the Golden Rule. The Golden Rule predates our notion of God. In fact, it doesn't require God at all. All the Golden Rule requires is basic human empathy. Is this something that occurs naturally for us? Well, yes and no. We do have a natural inclination to be good, says Zuckerman. It's a matter of social evolution. But fundamental human empathy and the willingness to do the right thing have to be cultivated. Morality is coded survival instinct, given by society as a set of rules of obedience to help the individual live among others. Those that adhere to morality survive within the group. We go through stages of morality as we grow up. In our earliest stages, we do the right thing to avoid punishment. In our most evolved stage, we do the right thing out of the sense of universal ethics. A set of ethics is an ethical behavior has to be molded for us by caring human beings, says Zuckerman, rather than a righteous God. We learn the best from those who we live with. How do Unitarians and Universalists fit into the scheme of things? We call ourselves a religion. We give others what Zuckerman calls the 3 B's: belief, belonging, and behavior. In other words, church is a place where we share our different ideas, engage in worship, ritual, and go out into the world and perform good deeds. How are we different from other faiths? Even Zuckerman treats us differently. We are presented as a haven for looking for a community. There are three main differences that we have from other mainstream religions in the way we live our moral code. First one, morality we teach is not grounded in a belief about God. It is a separate from any particular belief. Two, we are an examined faith. Unthinking, respect for authority is the greatest enemy of truth. And Albert Einstein. Truth exists. The morality we teach is not grounded in a particular belief about God. It is separate from any particular belief. The morality we teach is grounded in our principle of justice, compassion, and in inclusion and respect. It is the greatest gift that the humanism brought to our denomination. We believe there are rights to which everyone is entitled by virtue of being human. These are the same beliefs that the undergrid in the Constitution. We believe there should be no one treated as lesser than or with less dignity or greater cruelty of who they are and where they come from or how they live their lives. We are examined faith. Each one of us taken on the responsibility of identifying moral sources and or authorities that inform our ethical behavior. This might be our belief in God, or our following of Jesus' example, or our experiences in the world. Truth exists, and our understanding it evolves over time and in community with others. Revelation is not a sealed scripture. It is through meaningful relationships with one another that we can determine what is best and most true. People cannot be ethical by themselves. Ethical behavior is enacted in a community context. Ethical beliefs are relevant to if they are not accompanied by action. Our accountability is to one another. We must answer to the conscience and to one another when we fail to live up to our own expectations. Why do I bring this up now? When I think of our country, I get a sinking feeling that we are entrusting something precious to the hands of 9-year-olds, or at least in the hands of those who still in their formative stages of ethical development. Children this age want things to be fair and generally want to do what is right. I can't say that all our leaders in public eye could do the same. Lately, our airwaves and internet have been awash in public figures touting themselves in the media as offensive, egomaniac, belligerent, and religious. And they're proud of it. They and many of the people who support them in weird religion and real religion as a weapon. We shouldn't be surprised in this country religion and prejudice go hand in hand. It may be an oversimplification and generalization, but there is evidence to support the statement that more religious an individual is, the more prejudice that person. Our country was settled in large part by people who escaped religious intolerance in Europe and went on to impose the same in their new land. It is no wonder that creates our Constitution, where we so very carefully to implicitly separate church and state in our public and judicial institutions. Our forefathers may have been Christian or at least theists, but they created a secular constitution and then provided an additional bulk word in the First Amendment. Congress shall not make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Article 11, Section 3 of the Constitution states, no religious test shall ever be required as qualification to any office or public trust under the United States. We are not created a Christian nation. The framework of our country, our Constitution, is deliberately a secular document. Those who would yank this country away from those principles need to face in no uncertain terms. This requires great fortitude and great conviction. Unitarian Universalists explicitly tried to break the link between religion and intolerance. But we are human, are part of the society that made us, and can be caught up in the same isms as everyone else. We can still be afraid, still be unclear and unconscious of what we fear in our dealings with one another. We know this. It's easy to be careful with the things we cherish. It's easy to dedicate ourselves to protecting things we care about. It's harder to be careful with the things we do not cherish. It's harder to protect the rights of people we completely disagree with. Sometimes we fail. Sometimes we are not strong enough to do the right thing. These are all questions we need to wrestle with to people of conscience. So, with our humanness and secular principles to guide us, what can we do? Know what it is that guides you. Know who it is that guides you. Who are you aiming to be like? Who are you avoiding becoming like? Strive to push the edges of the constellation of people you care about. There is no more important task ahead of us. Listen to the politicians. See how they define the people they think should care about. Are they protecting the rights of people that we disagree with? It is all about how we act in a community with others. We need to keep people close. We need to give them access to our hearts. The world needs us here and now. There is a great spectacle, amazing, intricate, fragile work of art called our society that is entrusted to our care, and we need to stand